Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Duncan, intuitive medium, and I am sitting with my genius friends from Rescue Mediums, who you know, Jackie Dennison, Alison Wynne-Ryder, Edna Dargie, and Michael Lamport. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Sandy.
Well, we're up for another doozy episode this week, aren't we? Oh, my goodness. This took place in Devil's Creek, Cambridge.
Yep.
And just a little brief rundown for everybody following along. The home was tenanted, so it was the tenants this time, not the homeowners, that were experiencing a lot of changes in the house. And I'm curious, Michael and Edna, when you first went there, like you have gone to so many others, was there something particular that struck you or sort of hit a chord where you knew this was going to be a very, very interesting investigation?
Not really that led it to, I thought it was going to be an interesting investigation. I personally just found the tenants to be just upbeat and interesting people. What about you, Edna?
Yeah, I think that they were experiencing lots and lots of stuff, which was very interesting.
Yes.
And even from previous homes. So it led me to believe that, you know, maybe it was something perhaps more attached to the homeowners as they moved from place to place, or that they were very open to spirit contact, which I believe that came out to be.
Mm-hmm.
The rescue mediums are investigating this home in the aptly named suburb of Devil's Creek, where this young couple is being haunted by ancient spirits.
What looks like a male, it's just a shadow, but you can see the detail.
The feeling of being watched. Felt like someone was watching me or over me at all times.
Likes to walk in and out of my bedroom, out here, back and forth, up and down the stairs.
Things moving. I would go to sleep and have a change jar sitting on my desk. And it would move all the way across the room. It would be crossover by my bed. Make you uneasy. Feel like people are messing with you and stuff like that.
And for Jackie and Alison, when you were doing the premonitions, when you first come in and you meet the couple, Raymond and Alicia, as you're giving the premonitions, do you feel like a psychic pull to one or the other, if it's a couple, or was it sort of equally shared, the experiences that you were feeling?
I think that when you first meet the homeowners, unless somebody really stands out as being very psychic, because of course we can see their auras, so we connect with their energy field as well. Unless somebody's sort of really standing out as being very psychic, because it's early days, our guides tend to play things down for us a little bit, don't they, Alison? To get us to have a real feel of the energy right through the home, you know? That's the way I saw it anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And like with those two, I just felt the same. You know, they're both experienced. Obviously, we didn't know until we started reading the premonitions out, but you can see by the reactions, they're not allowed to say anything other than yes or no. But it was like yes for most of the stuff, and both had experienced stuff. So it was sort of pretty easy to see that both of them, you know, whatever was happening was around both of them, you know, as a couple.
Yeah.
Feeling a presence of someone, but not being able to see them, but you know they're there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
A naval connection, somebody who's in the Navy.
Yes.
A tragic accident.
Yes.
Feeling very low, but not knowing why.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's both of you have felt that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a feeling as though you just keep hitting a brick wall. It doesn't matter what you do to try and make things better, you just keep hitting that brick wall. And I've got Raymond.
As a viewer, the premonitions is like the first key to what we're in store for, you know, after we get to see the story unfold. And this one, I found, anyway, just very emotional because of the reactions of Raymond and Alicia. And it immediately you know, was, oh, I'm not getting up. There's no way I'm getting up for this one. You know, I can't risk it. What if I miss something? Their earnestness, I guess is a word, to share and really open to help. I thought was amazing. And I'm curious if that made your first go through the house, I don't know, that much more special or that much more interesting, because it's really happening and it's happening in real time for them.
When we leave the homeowners, it's like we have to switch. We have to switch off from, we keep in mind what they've sort of confirmed from our premonitions, but we have to sort of gauge each room that we go in as to what's happening. So it's like all your spider senses are on high alert when you're going through. And we can't even make sense of any of it early on. And we don't want to make it, we don't want to put 2 and 2 together and make 5.
No, not that early.
No. So all the little pieces are all over everywhere, and we have to sort of slot it together. So I suppose in answer to your question, we have to separate how we connect with the homeowners to what we're feeling in the property. So we're not influenced by them or our feelings towards them, you know.
And of course we didn't know at that stage what was happening around them, other than, like we said earlier, the reactions to some of the stuff that Jackie and I gave during the premonitions. So
I remember, I believe you were in the basement, and Jackie, you saw someone, I think, dart up the stairs, and you turned to Alison and said, I just saw someone run up the stairs. My immediate thing was, don't go. Don't go up the stairs.
We did follow.
Yeah, that was probably our reaction as well. Don't go, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you know, as I was coming up the stairs, I just had a horrible pain in the side of my neck. Like a stabbing pain.
You're just a pain in the neck, Alison. Alison, I've just seen somebody go up those stairs. I thought there was somebody here. Somebody was peeping.
So not hiding, but just watching what we're doing?
Yeah. And then run straight up those stairs.
Did they know you saw them?
I think so.
Let's follow.
Yeah.
Let's go and follow.
Let's go and see.
Where we've actually, at some points in some of the rescues, we've actually been chasing up the stairs or chasing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they move real fast, you know, because it's, you know, they don't need legs to move. They just have to think about where they need to be, and there they are. So
yeah, it's like energy moving, isn't it? And with this one, it was fast. So we obviously, I know you were joking, Sandy, but obviously we've got to follow, because we don't know where, you know, which room is going to be, you know, with the strongest energy in, or sort of later where we're going to be doing the rescue. But we ended up in the basement again, I think, didn't we, eventually?
Yeah. I mean, are they running away from us? Are they trying to get away from us?
We've had that before, haven't we?
Yeah. Or are they leading us somewhere for a reason?
Yeah.
And we don't know at that point. That's why, you know, you've got to follow.
It's interesting that you did follow them into the basement. And for people that are watching, the basement seems to always be the scariest place of a house. I mean, I know in my house, before I go down to the basement, I sort of take a deep breath. And because I think we all think something weird's down there. And there isn't really, there's just a furnace. But basements are scary. Yeah.
They are, you're right.
Some basements scarier than others, aren't they, Jackie?
Yes.
We've been in some really, really scary basements, you know, with spiders hanging off the ceiling.
Yeah.
You were doing the sign of the cross throughout.
Yeah, and it was given a lot. I was doing it over and over.
Yeah.
It's an odd feeling in here. I want to do the sign of the cross.
Oh, do you?
I want to do the sign of the cross.
A premonition of a religious nature.
Over and over again.
A Catholic connection. Wonder who give you the sign of the cross then?
I don't know, but it was really...
Yeah. And Jackie, you said you felt like your skin was being twisted.
That's what it felt like. It just felt, and it was very, very sudden. It came very sudden. And it literally brought me to my knees a couple of times. It was very powerful. And I think it brought tears to my eyes at one point as well.
I was going to say that. I could tell by your face. I could tell by the shock on your face because it was so intense, the pain.
Yeah.
And your eyes were watering.
Look.
Right, the sign of the cross.
Yeah. I've got terrible pains in my stomach. You know when somebody does this and you twist the skin? It feels as though my skin's being twisted. Didn't you have that on the premonitions?
Pains that come on suddenly.
Paranormal illness
Ow!
strikes Jackie to her knees.
Oh gosh.
Where was that then?
That was here. Really sudden. It comes on really sudden. Oh gosh. Ow. That's awful. Can't breathe with him and that pain's really bad.
Ask them to take the pain away.
Take it off. That's really quite severe.
Both the male and female spirits struggled to communicate with the rescue medium.
It had something to do with the woman that I saw with the bonnet. It had something to do with her, but I don't know what it is.
That's, you know, and it seems cruel, doesn't it, sometimes, that they put those physical conditions on us, but they're just letting us know what they suffered, and everything like that, including that, is a clue, isn't it? But yeah, I can see how much pain you were in. And then it's awful sort of being your partner when you're in so much pain, because there's not much I can do other than sort of say, take it off, but which you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that
can't take that away, you know.
No, that is the key. When you're working like this and you're working with thoughts and feelings of another person, in this case that person's in spirit, they will let you know. Sometimes not knowingly, they're not knowingly letting you know how they're feeling, because they're actually not communicating with us. They are just have this feeling that we're connecting to. So Alison's right, you know, you ask your spirit guides to take that off, to detach you slightly from that. It's when it doesn't detach and it continues, that's when you call for the paramedics, you know, because this is not spirit, this is something that's actually happening. But it can be really intense, and you have to know how to control that pain by disconnecting yourself from it and only allowing it to sort of come in to get that point across.
So Jackie, when we saw you, and it did take you down to the ground on your knees, especially the first go, is there another conversation going on in your head? There's one going on with Alison. Is there one in your head asking your spirit guides to this?
Yeah, all the time. You know, what's going on? What's happening here? Do I need to do anything? It's almost like you don't think about it, do you, Alison? It's a conversation that's going on that you don't think about, because your spirit guide is there all the time. And you know, so he will come in and he'll say, step back, or they work from their side, removing and, you know, helping from that side. That's why it's a team, you know, because we work, they're working from their side and we work from ours.
It's done in such a natural way. Yeah, like you say, you just don't think about it, do you? You know, it's just something that's so natural to us to do that. And we couldn't do the work that we do. We couldn't do that rescue work without the help of our spirit teams. And of course they work together as well, don't they? Yeah. Do you know what I was thinking earlier on? I don't know what popped this into my head, but honestly, I just think it's amazing how sometimes with the premonitions, we both get the same thing, maybe worded in a bit of a different way. And then sometimes it's sort of like you get, you know, half, I get half, and I just have this vision of our spirit teams going, well, okay, well, Jackie can give that and Alison can give that. It just really tickled me, and I thought, where does that come from? So yeah, it's just funny how that happens, but it does. Yeah.
Well, in that instance, because you drew what it was like a windmill, wasn't it?
That's right, the windmill, yeah.
Oh, there
that's
it is.
it there.
Yeah.
That's it there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you drew that, Alison, and what's the words on it? Is it where the wind blows or something?
Yes, where the wind blows.
Yeah, which is a windmill, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
And
it was a watermill, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly.
You
It was
picked
a
up on
water.
that because we had that movement going round. So, and obviously you've got that movement, obviously the wind moves a windmill. So they'd obviously given me that clue, and I'm just going with the women. This is what I drew. And it was a watermill because I heard the water. I think
No, you saw it.
You saw the water,
yeah.
and you heard it.
I heard it. Yeah.
So you see how we're connecting there, you know, without thinking about it. It just happens naturally.
I could just see water, just an expanse of water.
Right. I can hear that water.
Right.
I can really hear it. As if it's coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that picture you drew of the windmill? Is it possible it could be a watermill?
It could very well
because
be.
It's
going round. Right.
It's going round.
All right.
Alison's psychic drawing made days earlier rings true.
It's a woman.
And it totally made sense.
Yeah.
That also tied in with the pains that I was getting, those really intense pains that I was getting, because the female had Mary. I think you had
Mary.
you had the name Mary, or I did. One of us had. I think I had Mary.
Yeah, I had the name Mary on the premonitions.
You did,
He was saying to you, it's all because of Mary.
That's
and at first we didn't understand what he meant, but then obviously it became really clear.
Yeah.
Both the male and female spirits struggled to communicate with the rescue medium.
It had something to do with the woman that I saw with the bonnet. It had something to do with her, but I don't know what it is. Oh, he's saying it's because of Mary. It's because of Mary.
Something happened because of Mary.
The pains you were having were her because she was dragged into the machinery, wasn't she?
She was. Yeah, she was. Yeah.
When you were talking about Mary, there was the newspaper article that was very graphic in describing what had actually happened. And I don't know if anyone has looked at newspaper articles from the time, like this was April 1867, but it was so graphic in the description. So you can imagine how tormented Martin, the husband, must have been.
Yeah.
Would
you like me to read just a little bit of it?
Just a little bit, yeah. Don't.
I'm really squeamish, so I'll be sort of sitting there like this.
Okay, Mrs. Gorman, that's Mary, appears to have stepped around the north side of Mr. Cooey in order to call him. While passing by the wheels, her dress caught between the cogs of the two smaller ones, and the first intimation Mr. Cooey had of the terrible accident was by the women's clothing flying around with machinery. Looking about, he saw that she was entangled, so it was impossible to extricate her without stopping the whole machinery. During all this time, she was being crushed between the cogs, which mangled her arms and legs to a fearful degree. Before she could be extricated, her clothes had to be cut away from the axle of one of the cogwheels, and the extent of her injuries were then seen. Her right arm was torn off above the elbow.
My God.
The right leg nearly severed at the thigh, and both were frightfully mangled. The left arm from the elbow downwards was torn to pieces, and the left leg badly lacerated and bruised. Medical assistance was promptly procured, but nothing could be done to save her life. And she expired about 12:30 after suffering at times the most intense agony.
Oh my God. So she didn't die straight away. She went through
No.
all that, and oh my God.
There was an image of a man very upset, and that's just what Alison had seen.
Very much needed help, very much.
Jackie and Alison believed that the source of this psychic sickness was a man who once worked the land on which this house now sits.
Martin Gorman, he was born in Ireland in 1819. He and his brother James actually lived and worked in this area. Now, on various census returns, Martin was listed as a stonemason.
As these census documents show, he was a devout Roman Catholic and immigrated to this land in 1850.
Mary was his wife. He's saying it's because of Mary. It's because of Mary. Mary was actually about 20 years younger than he was. They went on to have 5 children. On the 18th of April, 1867, there was a tragic accident. And do you remember in the premonitions, I said there was a tragic accident? A tragic accident.
Oh no.
Mary was at the Dixon feed mill.
A tragedy foreseen in Alison's psychic drawing.
Her dress got caught in the mill wheel and she was dragged in to this. There is a full newspaper article about this.
Both Jackie and Alison feel that this gruesome and tragic end to his wife's life was an event Martin was never able to recover from. An emotional wound that stayed with him even in death.
Oh God.
Behind 5 children, but she was also placenta at the time, which meant she was pregnant.
Oh.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Gosh. No, I
Did we
didn't
know
know that.
I don't remember that. Oh my
No.
God, that. And so he lost another, he was obviously happy that there was another child on the way. He lost her and the baby that was about to be born and had to look after the 5 children on his own in so much grief. It's just horrendous.
No wonder he was stuck in that mindset, is it?
Absolutely.
Even if he lived a long life afterwards, he'd go back to that. That's something that would absolutely haunt you for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She was waiting there, and it was only when he looked up and saw her, and she guided him over. And
it's like he couldn't see her because I think he was so distraught. He just exactly. That's right, Alison. It was like for me, he just couldn't see her. But once you see, the whole time we're doing that, this is another way that we work with our spirit guides, because they're trying to lift the vibrations from their side as well, and we're trying to lift it from our side. So this whole thing's going on in our minds, these conversations that are going backwards and forwards, and we have to give our energy to whoever we're working with. So even though Alison was with Mary, she was bringing Mary forward, and I was with him. We were still working together to bring the energy up. I tell you what was amazing about that rescue was after we'd finished, they've got a budgie in that room, and that budgie started to tweet, and we hadn't. It took us by surprise because we didn't even know it was there, or if we'd not acknowledged it, it never made a sound.
No, we never heard it. That was amazing, and that's quite a common thing, with and it was singing its little heart out. Even the budgie felt the energy lift in the room, and he's letting us know. That was just so special.
The male spirit is set, and together they enter the light.
He's going, good, he's going. Wow.
Shut the door, shut the door.
Oh, I've already shut the door.
I'm just
shut the door. The bird's talking now.
Hello, Budge.
We
didn't think you could speak.
How long? And that bird has not spoken.
Not a thing. Oh, we must feel how nice it is in here now.
There's so much to that story. So no matter what happened to her, Mary, physically here, she was whole.
Yeah.
When she was in spirit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she wasn't trapped, you see. So
No,
she,
right.
you know,
Same.
she'd obviously gone through a period of healing, and I don't mean physical healing,
Right.
through mental and emotional healing that she'd have to go through because her loved ones are still on the earth plane, and she's gone through all of that trauma of death. So she's gone through that healing period, but she wasn't trapped at all.
No, it was
It was
him.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't pass away until about 33 years after.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He was
Wow.
80.
Mm.
And he died in the house of refuge, which is like a poorhouse
Oh, how.
Oh, that poor man.
of softening of the brain.
Oh.
That was the way they termed it on the medical certificate.
Edna, you did a little bit of sentimental research in this episode because of one of Jackie's drawings, the gentleman with the strong jawline. What was that like for everybody when you got to present that to Raymond?
Well, now I can't remember exactly. I think it was very emotional.
He was. Yeah.
I think when we showed him the drawing at first, so
Yeah.
that's his grandfather. isn't it?
Grandfather. Yes, grandfather.
And he had this very sort of square jaw.
Yeah.
And the picture, the psychic art picture that I'd done, as soon as we showed it to Raymond in the right at the very beginning when we were doing the premonitions with them, the look on his face, and he never said a word. It's like,
No.
oh, you could see the shock on his face.
And the look
At
of
that point.
recognition.
Yeah.
He knew straight away who it was, didn't he? But
He
obviously
did.
we didn't
That's it.
know until there we go.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
There he
You can
is.
see
And-
from the
yeah.
photograph the square jawline and on the picture as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and the eyes are very
Amazing.
like Raymond's eyes. And I think I had the name Raymond in the premonitions.
You
and,
did. You
and
did.
Raymond, that man, his grandfather, is Raymond. That's his name,
Yeah.
is Raymond.
But what of the square-jawed face which earlier made such an emotional impression?
This is the one I love, because this is
the most touching thing to me ever, just so you know.
This is,
Ooh, he's got a lot of expression in his
yeah,
face,
and
hasn't
it's
he?
got a very sort of square jawline there. I had the name of Raymond and a naval connection as well. Who's this?
That would be my grandfather.
That's your grandfather.
It's the very first picture of him I've ever seen. I actually received this picture about a month ago. My stepmother is doing an ancestry of my father, and this is a picture she found of him. And it's the very first picture I've ever seen of him. And then that one showed up. And it's like to a T. I mean, the squared chin, and that was something you pointed out, the squared chin. And I mean, from the second you laid it down, I started to cry. I started to cry.
It is believed that Raymond's grandfather retired from the forces in the early 1900s and died only a few years later.
A while back, I went into a coma with my diabetes, and I was gone for 3 days, and they gave me a 30% chance of living. And I think he's the one that pulled me through. He pulled me through to pull me to her. And I'm here with her because this is the happiest place I've ever been.
That's why this has been done, because he's wanting you to know, yes, he is still with you. So he has inspired me to draw that to say, look, Raymond, I'm here. And of course, his name is Raymond.
Named directly after him. I am the second, and he is the first.
There we go.
For you to draw him as well. I mean, I feel that that's confirmation for him that was
It is.
the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it had
Amazing.
nothing to do with what it had nothing to do with what was happening in the house, other than his granddad was looking out for him.
Yeah, I love that.
Which
Yeah.
was, just goes to show, it just takes you off in another direction completely.
It's just another layer to how your help
Oh, yeah.
changes the lives of the spirits and moves them on, but changes the lives of the homeowners, tenants,
Homeowners.
everybody. Yeah. Now he can go through life knowing his granddad's always with him.
Yeah.
Proof positive. Proof
Yeah.
positive. Oh, that was my favorite part of the show. I like the sentimental parts because I've been scared for about 20 minutes. And so I can get sentimental, but I'm thrilled.
Where do we do the chairs? Was it?
By the little river, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, by
Yeah.
the creek. Yes.
The spirit saved, the rescue mediums find less troubled waters.
Isn't this a nice little stream?
It is, it really is.
Oh, do you know what, Alison? I've got a real pain in the neck.
Well, you're going to have a pain in the neck by the stream, aren't you, Jackie?
Why is that, Alison?
Because it's bound to make your bones creak.
That's terrible.
Cheers!
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And thank you to everyone who's watching. Cheers.
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 Yeah.
If you enjoyed watching Behind the Scenes, please like, share and subscribe to veryparanormal.com, the portal for everything paranormal, where you can watch every episode of Behind the Scenes and every episode of Rescue Mediums, plus so much more. And it's absolutely free. You can't get much better than that. Cheers.